Hello from coastal Delaware. My name's Connie Smith, and I chose to do my research on Johann Pestalozzi, who was born January 12, 1746, and died February 17, 1827. He was known as the father of modern pedagogy. He was an innovative Swiss educational reformer, proponent of educating the heart and the senses. I was impressed with him when I did reading in this class because his philosophy matches mine. It's incorporated in what I do day to day, working as a special education coordinator in a high school. He wanted education for all, at their level, at the least restrictive environment. He wanted educational and vocational training based on where the student lived and what his possibilities would be. This is what special education is today, and this was before anyone even knew about special education. His philosophy was through a theory called the method. The method incorporated simple to complex, concrete to abstract, at the child's developmental level. He believed in a holistic education, physical, mental, psychological. He wanted students to become positive members of society with education and vocational goals. He tried and failed at being a clergyman, a politician, and a farmer. He directed and opened schools which failed, but he never gave up. He continued to practice his educational theory called the method. Education should develop the head, which represents knowledge, and we observe through experience. The heart, which shows children how to act, relates to feelings. It's our conscience. And our hands, physical activity and hands-on learning. The method answers three questions that we should ask ourselves every day as educators. How do you get to the truth behind education and teaching? How do you teach and educate children? And what method ought to be used for this task? He had two phases of instruction for the method. The first was called the general method, which was sensory learning in an emotionally secure environment. And the second was called the special method, where there were clear concepts formed with object lessons. The object lessons allowed for students to develop concepts with the use of objects, hands-on learning. He really felt that parents were the first teachers, especially mothers and the family, but he thought that there was a need to train teachers in the method. They needed to know the subject area, but they needed to be kind, affectionate, and cheerful. Most of all, they needed to have knowledge of the child. The impact that he made in education is important to teaching today. He was a leader for special education. Pestalozzi's philosophy made 13 points, and if these points were observed in the classroom today, we would see so much success. The interests and needs of the child need to be addressed. A child-centered rather than a teacher-centered teaching environment. Active rather than passive participation in the learning process. The freedom of the child to learn based on their development with self-discipline so that they can function as an individual in society. The child having direct experience of the world and the use of natural objects in learning. The use of senses in training so students can learn observation and judgment. Cooperation between the school and home and teachers and parents. The importance of a well-rounded education, head, heart, and hands. Systemized subjects of instruction which are carefully graduated. Cross-curricular learning. Education that puts emphasis on how things are taught as well as what is taught. Authority based on love, not fear. And most importantly, teacher training. If we put these 13 points that Pestalozzi gave us into practice in our public schools, we would see so much growth and success in our students.